Okay. Hey, there we are. YouTube
Hey.
taking sweet time. To be fair, I hit start stream at 8:03, and Elaine, you know who you're watching. For those of you who don't know who you're watching, welcome to Talking Heads, episode 232, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek, and oh my gosh, what an episode of Star Trek. We read all super chats on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and take part in the awesome community that hangs out over there.
And it only costs at least $1, but it's always willing to do more.
Well, so, costs $1.
Costs $1. It's fine if you want to. You can always offer more. It's fine.
Yep.
So, how's it going, Jeff? We didn't get to do our usual talk really quick because obviously I was the late one.
As usual.
As usual.
Yeah, well, I'm doing pretty well today. Things didn't quite go as planned this morning. Now, there's been something here in my office that I've been putting off for like 2 or 3 months, if not longer, and it's my streaming PC. It's the heart of my operation here. It's what I do, like all of my testing, all of my work, all of my recording on. It's been acting up for a little while. And I'm like, yeah, I should probably go out in the garage and find something to replace it with. But the problem is I don't have any like brand new high-end desktop stuff because high-end desktop stuff doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, Intel, the last generation was 2011 Cascade Lake, unless you wanted to go for the 3647 or the 4172 socket or whatever the bloody hell they're on now. But I mean, even that was short-lived with the 3175X, which is well outdated as far as performance and efficiency and everything else. Threadripper obviously kind of is dying, being neglected by AMD. And my system that I was running was a release day X399 MSI Gaming Pro Carbon that I got open box from Fry's. Which should tell you how long ago I bought it. It had all the BIOS updates on it, but it's a 5-year-old board at this point. I mean, it's not new. And
for what you need anyways.
Right. And why do I need a high-end desktop system? Well, I run no fewer than 4 X4 or larger PCI Express cards in this system. In fact, 2 of them are X8s, and 1 of them is an X16. I've got my graphics card, I've got 2 different capture cards, and I've got a Thunderbolt card. And I use them. I use them all. And there's nothing on the market right now that I can replace it with, unless I, just go buy server parts. I mean, I've got Epic systems in my garage. I suppose I could throw my 32 core in there, but then I'm sacrificing clock speed. So it's like, there's really not a good option right now for high I/O desktops.
Yeah, I know. Well, if you need a place to store it, I have a wonderful studio that could, sit right over there and just, it can slowly die in the corner.
Yeah, there you go. Like I said, I mean, I'm sure I've got lots of X79 stuff laying around. I could throw myself together something else, but again, I'm kind of done running a 10-year-old system as a daily driver.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was like looking this way at the camera and I was like, wait a second, what? Oh, there's a baby. Oh my gosh. Jeff, you look so young. Yeah. You shaved so quickly too. Yeah.
Are you kidding? I haven't seen my own chin in like 15 years.
You're like, I think it's somewhere down here.
I don't even know what I look like, but I know it's not good. So.
That's the thing. We need to do a bet. You either have to shave your beard or drink a pickle beer.
There ain't no chance I'm betting on the beard.
That would be funny.
There's an equally low chance that I'm going to drink a pickle beer. So
I actually ordered some more just in case. It's my new favorite beer to share with people.
Yeah. Mommy brought you in without a spit rag. And now that I've pointed it out, you're a ticking time bomb. Yeah.
Soon you're going to need a new keyboard too.
Yeah. He's got a Grogu shirt on. Grogu shirt and Grogu pants.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Does that make you the Mandalorian?
Yes, actually it does. I'm hoping we can get that going for my Halloween costume this year. I was going to 3D print myself some Mando armor. Well,
then you need to like somehow make one of those like floating baby cribs.
Yeah.
To like if you can mount it around your waist, or just get the satchel.
Or
mount it around
the
just do the satchel thing.
Yeah.
I think I've actually seen that to where they actually have like a baby carrier, but it's a man satchel.
Yeah.
You can do that, and that would be funny.
He can cosplay as my jetpack.
There you go.
Just paint him silver.
It's like, I need to get me one of those.
Wizard. Oh, let's see. Who's drinking what tonight?
All right. I saw a couple already.
Big Spoon says, I have one shot of Jack to take with you, so let me know when. You promised in the super secret after party last week. That's right. I did. That's right, because unfortunately, I'm going to have to go upstairs to get my... Oh, no, I have some Jack Daniel's Rye on the shelf. There we go.
Oh, where is it?
Yeah. So, Spoon, if you're still on the after party, we'll hit that at 10:30. I would totally love to do a shot with you.
Who doesn't like doing a shot with Spoon? Oh, there we go. Okay. And
yeah. What are you looking at? Is there a kitty over there?
See, we got Dom has got a Dewclaw fruited sour ale, blueberry, black currant, vanilla bean, lactose 6.9%.
That's a lot of words in that one.
I know.
Vanilla bean and lactose? Wow.
Yeah, so obviously one of those nice, wonderful jammy sours that basically just tastes like Jamba Juice.
Yep. Jamba Juice, strangely enough, the same number of calories.
Yeah, but you don't get those antioxidants that and the grass seed and all the B vitamin plus shots extra into it. Although that would be funny if you could, like advertise. Yeah, advertise. This has grass seed, protein boost, and B12 shots in this beer.
Can I get some soy powder in that?
There's no caffeine, but we put all the other vitamins that basically make you hyper. We're still obeying the law, I swear.
Yeah, throw in some ginseng and all the other energy drink crap.
Yeah.
Reverend cracking into a Fruta de Serpentia.
Oh, yeah.
Serpienta, New England IPA from local craft beer, 8%, 4 out of 5 on Untapped.
There we go. Scald's got a Stone FML. That's always a good IPA. Yeah. Novella Hub's got Turning Point, Nerd Alert, Triple IPA. That was one I saw earlier. That sounded wonderful. 10.5.
Oh. That does sound wonderful.
Yes. The percentage, that's all I needed to hear. I was like, that sounds wonderful. You don't need to give any more description.
Jason's got a Diet Pepsi.
Cody's actually got a Rum and Coke Zero.
Ooh. Solid choice.
Original is also having a Coca-Cola Zero, but no rum. Sad face.
And let's see, we'll do one more. Jeremy's got a Monster Javaloka.
Oh, didn't someone have that last time?
I think so. I think it may have been Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was like, oh, that sounds very fun. Oh, we have
I think he works this time of day, so.
That would be why. And looks like we got a super chat from Tech Geek.
Tech Geek says, for $20, thank you very much, Tech Geek. Very much appreciated, as always. I don't shave either, even though I'm 24. It makes me look like I'm 12. Ask me how I know. The thing is, I don't look like I'm 12. My head just is shaped oddly like a basketball. Like, I know it looks really tall and slender, like on camera. The only thing I can describe it as is when I have short hair and no beard, my head is shaped like a basketball, and I hate it. So I've had the beard since I was 18, at least the soul patch underneath, and I've trimmed the soul patch off once, and I will never do it again.
See, I have a couple of scars on my lip. I split my lip back in skateboarding days, like completely in half.
Gave me a spit rag, and we almost paid for it.
And so every time I shave, I have like these large scars right here, and it's always like, oh, that's weird looking.
And Ryan sends over $9.99. Thank you, Ryan. My brother's graduating SIU in May with a cinematography degree. So I bought him a John Delancey cameo. John sent a 4-minute long monologue about succeeding in the industry. It was perfection. That's freaking amazing.
That's cool.
That's awesome. No, that's a cameo I'd like to get sometime, is just John Delancey.
Well, the thing is, though, if you're wanting it, you want him to like kind of insult you as Q.
Oh, totally.
That's what I want.
Totally.
You know,
human going about your miserable little lives.
Yes. Thinking this lens gives you some kind of power. This is not power. You nearly peek into the window of the human psyche. Pathetic. Something along that line, you know.
Well
he'd
done.
probably
He'd
polish it up.
All right, we're a couple minutes into this at this point. Jeff, turn my mic up a touch. I will do that.
Yeah, someone was saying I was a little hot.
Yeah, I knocked you down just a little bit.
Okay.
Now, seeing as how I'm on a new PC, I also didn't migrate my hard drive. Like, I've rebuilt my streaming PC like 3 times over the years. I've migrated my hard drive every time. This time I went, I'm just going Windows 11, fresh install.
Ooh.
So far, I'm actually really liking it.
I liked Windows 11 when I first got it, and then I did a couple updates, and it's just bugged it out and slowed it down.
Yeah, so I went back 4 years to a 7820X Intel i7, which is their 8-core 16-thread for the 2011 socket. And I am on an X299 MSI Creation motherboard, so a $600 second-generation motherboard. So I'm hoping this keeps running. As like, first-generation Threadripper, nothing terrible against it, but it had bugs. It had, you know, it wasn't perfect, but what it did do is take a shot across the bow of Intel.
Oh yeah, I remember it being awesome.
And completely transformed the market, honestly, for the better. But that doesn't mean it's without its bugs. And first-gen Threadripper, especially first-gen Ryzen, your B350 chipsets, they're a little odd when it comes to memory compatibility and PCI Express cards and sometimes some stability things. So, you know, especially once you got to like B450, X470, man, those things are just rock solid. But first-gen Ryzen chips, they can be a little finicky.
Well, yeah, they just kind of, it was more of a proof of concept. It was the Gen 2 that was really like, oh, these are good ones.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we talked about that at the time too, when they were released. Was, you know, second generation is put up or shut up, and they put up, and the rest is kind of history. Tech Geek sends over another $5, and then we got to open our beers. I'm getting thirsty. It's been like 15 minutes. I'm getting thirsty. Thank you, Tech Geek. But have you tried Edge? Before you switch to Chrome, you should really try Edge. Are you sure you don't want to try Edge? Windows 11, holy crap. As if I couldn't be any more frustrated by, like, remember the whole EU lawsuit, the $2 billion fine or $200 million fine or whatever the bloody heck it was, largest fine levied in history, against Microsoft for browser collusion, for forcing you to use Internet Explorer and excluding other browsers and whatnot. Like, remember that whole thing? that they got sued by the Justice Department and then later on the EU. So there's no button in internet or in Windows 11 to just say default browser, Chrome. No, you have to go through your program associations and set HTML and HTTP and HTTPS and mail to and all of the different potential extensions that could launch a browser. You have to set all of them individually.
What? That is not, it's totally like customizable.
It's totally intuitive.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that sucks here, I actually do like Edge. It's not a terrible web browser at all. But stop forcing it down my throat.
Yeah.
For God's sakes. Like, if I'm just running a test PC anymore, before it was, very first thing I do is install Chrome, and then I'll go out and I'll get all, updated drivers and everything else. Anymore, I just use Edge for like all of my test systems. And even a lot of my, there are some systems in my house that don't have Chrome installed because Edge is pretty darn good anymore. But good God, when I want to use Chrome. Anyways, what do you got on tap, right, John?
I have a Langdon's Farmhouse Ale, the Lazy Rabbit. So I thought this was kind of appropriate.
Nice.
It's a dry hopped lager, so kind of coming in a little bit light. Thought I'd start off light today. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even pour it yet.
I already got more head than normal. So for me, I'm drinking a beer sent over by longtime friend of the channel, Scotty. Hi, Scotty.
Oh, yeah,
from Transient Artisan Ales. We're also going with a double dry hopped. This is Foam. Double dry hopped IPA, clocking in at 6.5%.
There you go.
Scotty, if you're in the chat, give me a shout. If not, I'll probably see you this evening on the after show.
There it goes. Now I can see. Oh, we don't even get to see if it's foamy.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Sorry, I was busy reading the chat while I was trying not to spill my beer on my keyboard. Okay.
That's an interesting. Tammy actually does have a question. Do you use Bing or Google when you're on Edge?
Ooh. Honestly, I use Bing. It's whatever the default would be, which is Bing. Well, I feel kind of dirty now. I didn't like. There's a difference between knowing and knowing, right?
Yeah.
I knew I was using Edge. I knew when I just type in a search, it's probably going Bing. But then it's like, you don't have to point it out, though. God.
I don't have to tell anyone. I feel kind of
right.
It's like you caught me. I feel dirty now. Oh man.
All right.
What do we got for the first one?
For the news tonight. Now that we're almost 20 minutes in. Framework.
Somebody mark that because everyone's getting pissy.
Yeah, great. We're back to tech news starts here now.
Yeah.
I thought we were over that. Anyway, Framework, the laptop company, they are starting to make good on their promise by making pretty much all of their parts available a la carte. And it's not just like, yeah, here's an NVMe drive that you can buy off the shelf, but we're going to charge you 50% premium because it goes in our laptops, right? They were already starting to sell their modular USB-C adapters, so you could like mix and match ports in your laptop, and it just kind of works, right? They were already selling like replacement keyboards and trackpads and LCDs. Well, like I said, it's kind of put up or shut up time. Framework has announced that starting at $399, you can now just buy the motherboard and plug it in.
Yeah, with all the other stuff too.
Right. The really cool thing is you don't even necessarily need to put this into a laptop because it just takes USB-C power. Yes, it has a battery header on it, but if you plug this into USB-C, you've got an i5 1135 G7 mini computer with a heatsink and and everything else with socketed memory and NVMe slot and 4 USB-Cs. Like, honestly, like if I were looking at buying a Nook or buying one of these, this isn't a terrible deal. At
no,
$399.
It's pretty sweet too, because I'm betting there's a lot of 3D printer, cases that are going to be coming out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Really soon. And I'm betting there's going to be some really cool looking ones. And honestly, I'm betting people are going to be coming out with kits for this to have your own handheld device now too.
Remember the Rocket Lake that's inside here, or not Rocket Lake? It's good Lord. I don't remember 11th gen mobile. Whatever the hell that is.
What's the some lake? I forget which one. I was gonna say Rocket League, but no, it's a lake.
Anyway, whatever the bloody heck and the this is right. This is not the same one in the Steam Deck. This is the same chipset in the GPD Win 3. Is the 1165 G7, 1185 G7, and the i5, the 1135 G7. Getting that amount of horsepower for $400, $550, and $800. I think the 800's probably pushing the price point just a little bit, at least in my taste. But $550 for the 1165 G7, which, by the way, also gets you 96 compute units of Intel Xe for the onboard graphics. Cascade Lake. No, that Cascade Lake was desktop Xeon.
Yeah, that was the one before it. Before the one we were talking about.
Right.
Because there was Cascade Lake, something else, and then
hold on.
But actually, it's cool. In GitHub, they actually give you printable framework cases too already for
Tiger Lake.
Tiger Lake.
Tiger Lake.
You. Now it comes to right.
Yeah, like I have all the desktop ones floating around in my head. I may not be able to put all of them together, but they're all there. As far as the mobile SKUs go, man, if they used like regular numbers,
did they release it? Like, did they release it the year of the tiger for Chinese? Wasn't last year the year of the tiger?
Technically, was it last year? I know 2020 was year of the dog.
Year of the tiger. What? Oh, 2010. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know what last year was. Is Intel Xe graphics?
2022, so it's next year.
It's this
year. It's this year. Yeah. So it's this year.
Yeah, but they released it last year. Is Intel Xe graphics really that good, since GPU drivers are really hit and miss in some programs? Overall, I had a pretty pleasant experience with the Intel Xe drivers. So you're correct. Support for raw optimizations for Intel Xe, it's still young, and I don't know how well Xe is going to be supported in the future, since we're kind of moving on to the second generation with Intel Arc. But Xe proved that it could put up some pretty decent numbers. I mean, we're not talking like GTX 1050 Ti levels, but we are talking in the conversation for mobile graphics. It pretty much beat out anything that was onboard graphics as of last year. And so that's actually a back and forth battle that I'm really excited for in 2022 heading into 2023 is APUs, because Intel and AMD now both have in-house graphics chipsets that are decently powerful. I mean, AMD obviously with with their graphics lineup with Radeon and whatnot, but now that they both have graphics tech that's worth a darn, there's a lot of rumors coming out that AMD is looking to kill low-end graphics cards by simply including really, really good RDNA 2 APUs on the market. So we might finally get, that 20 compute unit APU that we've been looking for, that has, RTX 3050 Ti or 3060 level performance in a chip that costs $400, and you get the CPU and the graphics chip as part of that.
Yeah, that'll be nice, and that'll cut down even on mobile stuff too, and size.
Yeah.
We'll be able to have something like this in this size in the next hopefully couple of years that's this thick and has the power of a 30, 60, 30, 70. Essentially. Yeah. And I don't think it's gonna be the 399 point price. Well, actually it might be by a couple of years.
I don't think we'll ever get CPUs that have that level of graphics performance, at least not for a number of years. But as far as the low end stuff, so if you're talking about spending $150 on a CPU and $199 on a GPU, a nice modest starter GPU, I think it's conceivable that for like $300 or $350 you could get it all in one package and build yourself a sub 100 watt gaming PC with just an APU. I think it's totally something that's in the future, and I think it's a lot closer than a lot of us know.
Well, what I like about that too is that it could eventually even, I'd be curious to see like what Microsoft would do if they would take something like that, or Sony, and do some form of another handheld device to compete against the Switch. And, because there are already devices like that, to where then, what we could see in the next 5-6 years is them have something like that, because it could hold up to the graphics of a lot of their games. Yeah, it's not going to be 4K, the supposed 120 frames per second that they all do. But, for a handheld device to easily be able to if you're playing online, you could then switch over if they could make that migration somehow, especially if it's cloud gaming too. If for some whatever reason, cloud gaming starts working with a good broadband connection, which is still, again, 6, 7, maybe 10 years out.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Well, there goes all my content, right?
Well, Jeff, you got another 5-6 years for that gaming server. Yeah. So you'll get your money worth.
Yeah. So, Tammy, I don't know what you're talking about with the 6400 rebrand. The 6400 is a Navi 24 GPU with 768 shader units. It's the same physical die as a 6500 XT with 1024 shader units. That's called binning. I don't know why you're accusing anyone of a rebrand. It's a modern day chip. It's not an old fab process. It's not old technology. It's RDNA too. Who knows? Not saying that AMD hasn't rebranded things before, and sometimes they've done it clearly and above bar, and sometimes they've kind of snuck previous gen tech into current gen SKUs, although Nvidia's done the same thing, Intel's done the same thing. It happens. So I don't know. I feel like I need to finish this beer before the next story.
Well, we have other stories. We could always just mention it, and then if we're low, go back to it. It's your call, your show.
No, we could do it. So I just want to let everyone know, I don't care your feelings about Elon Musk, but don't come in here and defend this as the greatest acquisition in the history of ever. And don't say it's an absolute F show either, because I honestly don't know where it's going to go. None of us do. We're not in the head of a narcissist. But this has got to be one of the biggest displays of FU money in human history. What am I talking about? Well, Elon Musk bought Twitter, or at least is in the process of purchasing Twitter for an approved amount by the Twitter board. So, yeah, I have to talk about it because it's some of the only tech news that came out this week. Trust me.
Or do you guys want to talk about Johnny Depp?
Right. We could do Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, disposition. Yeah. Which I have to say, there are some clips that are coming out of that trial that are absolutely hilarious.
Oh, I know.
There's the clinical psychologist who was ripping Amber Heard's lawyers a new one for trying to spin words, and she goes, no, that's not true. That's not accurate at all. It was funny more of in a professional sense. There's I alluded to in a tweet earlier today, the mega pint. You poured yourself a mega pint of wine. A mega pint.
A mega pint. Well, I saw that too, and then I saw I don't know if you saw the video of him doing it.
Poured myself a large glass. Yes.
It was in one of those really crappy, cheesy mason jars with the wine stamp.
Yeah.
I showed that clip to my wife. I'm like, babe, that's you.
He's just like us. Yeah.
Mega pint.
Mega pint. They come in mega pints? I'm getting one. Pippin, you've had a whole fifth already.
Yeah, I laughed at that part too.
Mm-hmm. Probably the funniest one was they were Amber Heard's lawyers called the doorman for their penthouse to the stand to speak about Amber Heard's makeup habits. Did you notice what color foundation she was wearing? Like, I don't know what color. Like, I couldn't even tell you she was wearing makeup. Okay, well, what color powder was she wearing? I don't know.
I don't know makeup.
And the lawyer just keeps asking, and it's like they're asking the question. It's like, I don't even know what brand, style, type of makeup my wife uses.
He's like, do you even know how this brand works? Are you familiar with it? It's like, no, I don't know any of these brands.
Right. But what was really funny was beyond that, he got fed up with the questions because he's in his car, like on a break or something. And he's in his car. You can tell he gets fed up because he starts puffing on his vape pen and then he starts just driving. And so he's answering the questions going, I don't know. Just blowing smoke out his nose. It's one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah, there's been a couple of really good ones.
Yeah. So it's a terrible situation. I don't mean to make light of it, but man. Yeah. Anyway, making light of the Elon Musk acquisition. Elon Musk set to rename Twitter to T-2 and 6 parenthesis plus sign at exclamation point, and it's to be pronounced Toot and Plutend. Toot and Plutend. There you go. Now this is obviously in reference to his naming style that has bored its head in the past, and yeah, so I guess we're all gonna need to get Toot and Plutend at signs at this point.
I'm fine with it.
For whatever that means.
I'm pretty sure that's a joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah. Although everyone thought that when he was naming his kids that.
Yeah.
Look how that turned.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, we don't know what's going on. It is the biggest FU money acquisition.
Yeah.
Next to Jeff Bezos's rocket things.
Right. Where he took William Shatner into space and then, was using him as a prop and here's
some alcohol.
Yeah. I understand that William Shatner can sometimes come across as a tool. I understand that sometimes William Shatner can come across as a jerk, as an asshole, as whatever else. I've never seen William Shatner more uncomfortable in any situation in my entire life. And that man got on stage and did Rocket Man. So, yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of FU money, in which it was like an I'm rich and look, I took Captain Kirk into space. Look at me, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
You've never gotten upset about what people were saying and then just bought out a company for $44 billion. Like, yeah.
I mean, if I had the money, I could.
Mm-hmm.
I might.
It's true.
If I had that kind of money.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to be worth 177 billion minimum.
Right.
Because technically he's actually worth more because his other companies are still private.
Yeah. Technically, a lot of investment firms, venture capitalists, well, not venture capitalists, but there's a lot more money than just Elon's in the pot right now.
Yes.
So saying that Elon is, the sole owner and has the market share of personal wealth of all of his other companies combined, that's a little disingenuous, but the man is worth a lot more than I am. Like I'm working on breaking even. Like if I sold my house and everything in it, and I could walk away and have $0 left, like, wouldn't that be awesome?
Is that your cat?
Yes, that was Rambo.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I just hear a noise?
Nope. Yeah. I think I am above the break-even point. Like, if I sold everything I owned, I'd have like $10,000 in my pocket and the shirt on my back, and that's about it.
Like, I could buy a pack of beer. I'm happy.
Right.
And then you drink that beer, like, oh.
I could afford rent for 4 months. Like...
Top ramen, all right.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on.
Yeah.
Tell you what, introduce this one. I'm gonna let Rambo out.
All right. There's actually something going on with some old, as Jeff was pointing out, old tech hardware that sometimes lays around in your garage of some kind. You know, Jeff was running a 5-year-old motherboard. Well, what if Jeff's streaming PC was, say, a Commodore 65?
John, don't you mean 64?
Condition. Did I?
No. So there's the Commodore 64. We know it. We love it. You used one in elementary school.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you know there's a Commodore 65? You may not. They're extremely rare. They were not a very successful system at retail because by the time the Commodore 65 came out, there were a lot of other competitors on the market. Most notably, I believe the TRS-80, the Radio Shack computer had made it in, and I'm trying to think if
was it Amiga out by then?
I think Amiga was out at that point, and I believe even on the video game front, Sega Master System,
yes,
had come to the States, and so
yeah, 90 to 91.
Okay, yeah. So no, actually, NES was far out at that point. Amiga was out. So as far as gaming and compute, it was a much different landscape from when the Commodore 64 launched, in which it basically came into the market unopposed. So while it's a good piece of hardware, it's, it just had difficulties in the market. Well, one has showed up on eBay in pristine condition. And working units are rare, to say the least. Let me just click on... Hold on.
Oh, yes. The video.
No, hold...
See that part.
And these systems fetch big money. I thought that was going to take me to the auction. No, instead it's just a redirect to hot hardware. No, I have to go all the way to the bottom to the eBay auction page. Bidding has ended. $50,000. 47,000 euros.
Where is it on this keyboard? There it is.
And sorry, this is a C65 prototype, not a C65 retail unit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did the 65 actually hit retail? I might be misremembering. Oh yeah, Commodore 65 was a prototype system. Okay.
Okay, so that's why.
Yeah. So no wonder they're incredibly rare. I thought it was a poorly selling system. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of FU money, $51,000 for a Commodore 65.
Are you sure Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos didn't buy it?
I have no idea.
Probably like let's turn this thing into a touch screen. Or what's his face? Microsoft guy.
Gates,
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I finally get to beat you. I'm gonna smash you so hard.
Yeah. So Commodore 65, $50,000 is now the mark to hit.
No, wait, is this just I didn't get to see the auction page, but is this basically just the keyboard?
It's the keyboard and the monitor, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe,
and is
hold on.
Because the monitor looks completely separate. It just looks like a compatible monitor.
Commodore C65 for sale, fully working. Number 27. I think it's
keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what all the pictures are. And then the board. Oh my gosh, that board is tiny.
Yeah, my German is nicht so gut, as they say.
It's even got the not for sale sticker.
Yeah. And they actually estimated 50,000 euro. Came in at 47. There we go. So yeah, I think it's just the unit itself. So
I mean, maybe it comes with the monitor too, but I think the monitor was technically a separate piece of hardware.
Yeah, that's just that almost looks like a Packard Bell monitor.
Yeah,
that's just a generic unit.
I was gonna say, like, you can even see the color fading on the plastic of that white, as we know, the yellow white. God, I saw this awesome video of someone restoring a keyboard to that original white color. It's like, that was just pure addictive.
Yeah.
Watch,
I love watching the yellow come out of old, electronics from that day. Denver sends over a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. In before Elon bans Elon Jet because only humans can have free speech, and by extension, his accidental attack on Citizens United corporate money equals free speech. Not going to comment. SPX Labs, $5. Is this pre-recorded? Yes. It's all part of the illusion.
Yes, that's why. See that?
Mm-hmm.
I plan to do that.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. That's
got to catch up. We're moving.
But speaking of old things, Jeff, you're a big camera guy. I know you're a big camera guy. I mean, I like cameras.
I have my vices. What are you trying to get at? Is this an intervention? Shut up.
I think you're not my dad. I think you spent too much on glass, Jeff. I'm just sorry. All right, too much. That's where all your debt is gone. Too much on glass.
You have no idea.
Your obsession with glass is my obsession with beer.
Unfortunately, I have that same obsession.
Yeah, that's true. But how would you like to have a 70-year-old camera? Like an old...
That would be super cool.
It would be old. And how would you also like to have it somehow be digital? Which would be kind of odd, but still have the exact same frame rate.
Honestly, so this was almost 20 years ago. I worked for a camera shop. And at the time, you do know the one. At the time, digital SLRs were just hitting the market where even professionals could scratch the surface. I'm talking the original Canon 1D and 1DS. So, and the 1D was a 1.3 times crop and a 12 megapixel, and the 1DS was a 10 megapixel, but it was the S, so it shot super fast at 5 or 6 frames per second, because that's what sports cameras shot at the day as far as film goes, unless you had a 10-shot film camera. But yeah, so I worked at the very precipice of digital high-end photography being approachable by anyone outside of Hasselblad or whatever else. At the time, there were a bunch of different mods that you could do to film cameras to possibly put digital backs in them. Kodak, most notably, sold some digital backs for Nikon F-based cameras, and they did a couple for EOS. So if you had an old EOS 1 film camera, you could convert it to like a 3 or 4 megapixel digital camera. That turned it into a brick about this big because all the processing had to go on the bottom of it. They were absurd. And they were really freaking expensive, like $10,000 for a digital back for an EOS 1D. But they existed. There was another thing that you could do, and that was taking 35mm camera lenses, putting them into a cardboard box, and creating a pinhole camera of sorts, but using a flatbed scanner as your recording surface.
I remember seeing videos about
what
that.
You would do and this was like
horrible.
They actually looked amazing because remember you could do like 1200 DPI or 3000 DPI. Now, any motion in the shot at all, over like the 10 seconds that it takes to capture was completely ruined. Because you're scanning one line at a time and you're going about this speed.
Yeah.
So even landscape shots, if something moved, you would artifact and you'd get that like, you know, broken airplane propeller look and things like that. But if you wanted a super high resolution camera and you were doing like, you know, nature photography or architecture or something like that, that was actually a viable option at the time, is plug in a flatbed digital scanner to a laptop and throw a 35 millimeter lens into a, you know, custom made box and off you run. Hope it's in focus.
That actually is very similar in a sense. There's modern day things that people do, and something like that they'll take. Maybe with that was, you know, weird tech, and they're combining it with an old piece of way of taking, you know, photography, the old pinhole thing, because that's been done for years upon years since the beginning of photography. Now these people, and we're very, very loving of Pi project, Raspberry Pi projects. Someone has taken a Raspberry Pi 02 and converted it with an 8 millimeter Bell and Howell camera. And
this is super cool.
They did it in a way to where it actually captures it digitally, but does it at the exact same shutter speed. So you still get that shutteriness to it and everything. It's a really cool project. I just found this earlier, and this guy has it all explained on his YouTube page. And it's actually this tiniest, it's got like 23 subs. It's a really tiny thing, but it's like, oh, this is super cool. He doesn't really explain the whole process of what's going on. But he shows you, he you know, kind of puts this gear mechanism with a piece of plastic that looks like it's probably been 3D printed, and it flips it, and he worked out the timing to be the exact same shutter speed as he's filming digitally. And he's hollowed out this camera and was able to fit a USB-C charger and a Raspberry Pi 02 into it, and just overclocked the Raspberry Pi 02. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really neat project. I've thought about doing this a number of times with a couple cameras that I've seen over the years, and I actually do have a Raspberry Pi 02. I've also got the HQ digital sensor, which is a, gosh, what is it, a 1/2 inch sensor or something like that. I've actually had a crazy idea in my head for some time, is to come up with a way to replace the guts of an old Canon cinema camera, like the XL1 or something like that, which was a run and gun photojournalist style camera that was really popular in the early 2000s, and replace that with the guts for a Raspberry Pi with a digital back sensor, because that Raspberry Pi sensor is actually, I think, approaching the size of the sensor that was in that camera. And the lenses that came on there were darn good. And so if you could somehow figure out a way to interface, and I'm sure someone can, the aperture and power the image stabilization, you could have a seriously good little 1080p camera with a good Canon lens and full aperture adjustment and built-in ND filters and everything for like $200 to $300. Like I've thought about doing this before.
Yeah, it would be a fun. I mean, as of all the other projects you do, you know, that would be kind of a fun little project to see on the channel too. Of just like, oh, I have a passion for this, and you know, that would be kind of fun. Or just, and you can even talk about just more of the modding, custom moddings of Raspberry Pis too, or whatever.
Yeah,
you know. It would be fun. I'd watch that just for just old stuff like that, and plus a little bit of tech. Cause like, oh, that always gets me to click and watch.
Yeah, you can get a used XL1 with the 5.5 to 88 millimeter lens, which is image stabilized, by the way, for under $200. and that's for a working system. You can get them not working for as little as like $50 to $100, but without a lens, and the lens costs $100 by itself. So, but yeah, they're cool little cameras.
It'd be fun if you did that and then did like like a whole video then afterwards and you shot it on that camera type of a thing, you know. That would be kind of fun.
I think it'd be fun to try to, you know, do something like that.
Yeah. Again, another reason to start the second channel.
That's right. I've got all these ideas, man. Ideas.
If only you had FU money, Jeff, you could do all these ideas.
That is true. You know how I could get FU money is if you visit our sponsor today, Linode. Linode, thank you so much for bringing today's episode of Talking Heads to my awesome audience. If you've ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but don't have the resources to invest into hardware, power, cooling, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS server, VPN gateway, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site. Because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode also recently announced they are the first alternative cloud provider to have NVMe block storage available to all customers. Back in September, they began rolling out NVMe drives to all 11 of their global data centers. Best of all, storage rates will remain at the same low price they always have been. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and thanks again to Linode for providing me with what little FU money I have.
Well, you know, you can always offer to go sell Craft Computing to him, and you know, maybe
I'll start the bidding at $44 billion.
There you go. Someone might take it,
right?
Just take Craft Computing public.
No.
And then you're gonna find out. Then all of a sudden, you're like, oh crap, shares are lower than Dogecoin.
Over under Doge, what are we looking at?
Yeah. Like, all right. Well, just think though. Hang on. Now, after this, we could pay for stuff on Twitter with Doge. So we're good.
In theory.
That NFT might. Ah, damn, that would have been a good joke. We should damn it for the next. Oh well.
Well, here's the deal. As much as Elon has been backing Bitcoin and Doge and things like that, the man sure doesn't accept it as a payment method in any of his services anymore, due to the volatility and an unpredictable nature of an unregulated, undocumented currency.
Or you mean a pump and dump? I'm sorry, what?
Right. What was the tweet that was out this week? That was so many people are accusing every crypto coin of being just a Ponzi scheme. I'll have you know that our cryptocurrency is a pump and dump, and this other one is straight up fraud, and this other one is pyramid. You have to respect the diversity that is in this new economic future. It's true. Everything old is new again.
Oh, actually, hang on. They actually did start taking Bitcoin.
Tesla started taking Bitcoin and then stopped
again. Nope. And it started. They started back up at March last month.
Okay, last month. Okay.
I was like, I thought about, but yes, there was a blatant. We do it, and then we saw this. He bought a bunch, and then he announced it, and then it skyrocketed up, and then the second it was like a downtick. No, sell.
Yep.
Stop taking it.
Yep.
And then it was super low, and then he bought a bunch.
Yep.
And then what happened 9 months later? Oh yeah, we're taking it again.
Yep. And it's an unregulated currency, so the SEC can't do a darn thing about it.
That's true. Speaking of electric cars,
yes,
and something that looks sexy. Honestly, these ones do look sexy. The newer ones now. GM actually making some waves in the electric vehicle. No longer the what is it? The Bolt or whatever they used to do.
They have the Bolt and the Volt, and they've got a couple hybrids, I believe. Hey, I have a hybrid.
No. Those style, the Bolt and the Volt, the original ones, they look horrible.
No. Well, yes, they're not exactly great looking cars. How's that?
Yes, that's what I was going for.
Yes, but yeah, Chevy going all in, GM going all in, and taking the Corvette hybrid. Not only that, there's a very interesting little teaser that's here. See if you notice anything about this image right. Oh, this one right here. Those front wheels are spinning.
Yes.
Did you catch that? Right there.
Those
front wheels are burning out.
It looks all-wheel.
This Corvette is all-wheel drive.
Well, honestly, it probably needs it because now this is a hybrid. It's not an all-electric.
Now, hold on, because drivetrains in hybrids can have electric motors on both sets of wheels, and then also use the gas engine to power one or both sets of wheels as well through transfer cases and CVTs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's conceivable that it's an electric all-wheel drive with a gas rear-wheel drive, which is actually how a lot of hybrid cars work. If that's the case, man, this thing just got even sexier. Like, I've never been a Corvette fan until the C8. Until the C8 hit.
Oh, yeah. Those are sexy.
Yeah. What are you looking up, John?
Well, for some reason, I thought the C8 was, or the modern ones, I thought they were all-wheel drive.
Nope.
For some reason, because I know they switched to a new suspension.
Right. Well, they went mid-engine with the C8s.
And then they went mid-engine, and I thought they upgraded the suspension as well.
Well, yeah, they upgraded the suspension, but it's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive using a custom transaxle on the back. It's an 8-speed automatic or dual. Sorry, it's an 8-speed dual clutch transaxle, which is 2-wheel drive rear-wheel.
I thought it was all.
Yeah. So, yeah, the fact that they're adding an electric motor that could be powerful enough in theory to keep up with the Corvette at speed. Because a lot of hybrids, when they're like all-wheel drive hybrids, like I have a Toyota Sienna hybrid. It's all-wheel drive. It's all-time all-wheel drive with electric on the front. Electric or gas powering the front, and they can do it simultaneously or they can do it one or the other. And then it also has electric rear-wheel drive, which functions as the all-time all-wheel drive. Up to 45 miles an hour, you can get all-wheel drive. Once you go above 45, the rear motors actually cannot keep up. And so those will turn off in favor of the front motors assisting the gas motor. But below 45, you can actually go all-electric mode if you wanted. So it's kind of a cool system. Now, the fact that it's going into a Corvette, and you guarantee no launch control and off the line time is gonna be
it's gonna be like 2 seconds.
I'm wondering if the Corvette starts pushing for that 2 second mark for like a 2.9 0 to 60.
No, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's under 3.
Yeah.
Well, the C8 was already in like that extremely budget supercar.
The C8 was already a 3 second 0 to 60 car.
Yeah.
And so
wasn't it? Aren't they only? Well, I think the low end, the base model, isn't like $30,000.
No. Base model starts at 60,000.
Was it 60,000?
And that's when you can find one because, like everything else, they're unobtainium and supply is limited and part shortage and so finding a C8 Corvette for less than about 95 right now is kind of impossible. Now at $95,000, they are still a hell of a deal as far as a brand new, essentially American supercar goes. Good luck finding one for that. Like, if they were actually selling for $60,000 and they were actually in stock, like I would actually consider buying one next year. Like seriously. And that ticks me off because my bucket list car is an Audi R8. Like I want an Audi R8. I love the R8. I love the Gen 1 and Gen 2 R8s. I would love to own one day. But the problem is that the Audi R8 is also a gated manual transmission, whereas the C8 is not. So where the R8s were just starting to get affordable in like the I can buy a third vehicle kind of way, you know, they were starting to hit that $80,000 mark and coming down from their, you know, 150, 165 retail price. It's like, man, I could buy an 8-year-old R8, find one that was, you know, well cared for and loved and everything like that, and be good to go. You know, it'd be my Sunday driver. But now that the C8 is out, and you can get the C8 for $60,000, or in theory you could, all of a sudden the R8s have just skyrocketed, and I fear I'll never be able to afford an R8 now, and that makes me sad. And as much as I'm not a Corvette fan, I'm falling in love with the C8 Corvette. And again, it feels dirty. I feel bad about it.
I don't know. Well, that's not true. I've always liked the 70, like very early Corvettes, but then 80s and 90s and early 2000s, blah.
Yeah.
That fiberglass, you push it and it, you know, bends.
Well, yeah, that was the C5 and C6 famously. Yeah, they were fiberglass tubs on top of rolled steel bodies. And then the C5 and C4 are obviously the wedge shape. It's the, you know, there's no real lines to the car. They look like really large door stops with big engines in them. At least the C5 has an LS3, which is a great engine. But yeah, C4 and back, man, it's hard to get excited about any of those, especially when you look at the early C4s, you know, the 84 to 89 kind of range. Because not only were they terrible to look at, they were terrible to drive, and they had the most anemic V8 ever put in an American sports car, like 180 horsepower.
Oh yeah. No, I remember the not the like old 60s Corvettes, it was the ZR1s. Mm-hmm. That was like the first Chevy I fell in love with, the Corvette one with the big, it kind of almost looked like the Mach 5 from Speed Racer because it had the two front wheels had those big arches in front of it.
Which year are you thinking about?
Like 1970.
Oh yeah,
1970.
Yeah, the C2 essentially.
Yeah,
the C2, C3. So the Stingray. Yeah.
Yes. And so those are the ones I know they don't handle well. They went like 140 at top, but it's like, I just love that front end for some stupid reason. Yeah.
Oh no, I've always loved the look of the C3s, of the Stingray Corvettes. Like I like the look of them, but they were just Chevy small block 350s. I mean, they weren't anything terribly special. I know this is blasphemous for any Corvette owners that are out there, and I'm really sorry to my father-in-law, who happens to own a C5, and the Corvette is his favorite car in the world. Like, they were great cars in the 70s, but they're not something that I would want to drive today unless I did a retro mod, or a resto mod on one. Unless I put a modern V8 LS with you know,
I don't know,
fuel injection. And
I mean, I know that the clutch was super heavy, just like the Lamborghini and everything, but it's like I wouldn't drive it like that. This would be a cruise car. I don't know, I just like it.
Can I tell you about we can go on cars all night long. So I recently found a YouTube channel called, I don't want to get the name wrong because I want you all to go watch. StanceWorks. Now, from the title, or from the name of the channel, it sounds terrible. Like I am everything that Stance is not. I am against everything that Stance Nation stands for. StanceWorks is a little bit different though. StanceWorks, he's just a guy in his garage and he's building cars, and it's like, it's really cool. It's fun stuff. The car that he's working on right now is a Ferrari 308. one of the most maligned and hated Ferraris in history, again, because it's a mid-'80s sports car. Not only that, it's an Italian sports car with this pathetic flat V8 in it. I mean, yes, it's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive sports car, but it's about as pathetic as they get. He is doing a Honda Civic Type R swap on it. And I am here for it. So it is not the noise you expect to hear out of a Ferrari 308, but I freaking love the idea of it. And so I've been watching probably his last 4 or 5 videos on the subject, where he's just building this Ferrari in his garage, but he's using a turbocharged Honda Civic engine. And it's amazing. And the thing I like that he's doing is he's not like, you know, hey, this is our new project car, and then like 5 minutes of time lapse, and then go, yeah, we got really far in the last 3 days. You know, we did this, 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 and this. You know, check back in the next video. Instead, he's like, today I'm putting the brakes on, and here's exactly how I'm doing it, every single nut and bolt. Like, you could go and watch this as a tutorial on how to Honda swap a Ferrari 308, and you'd get everything you need out of it. So if you like that kind of content, go watch him. He just got the engine started in the last video or the video before that, and it makes a hell of a noise.
Let's check that out. Yeah, I was looking at the channel. There's like the last like 10 videos is just him doing that. I was just kind of watching the clip, and it's literally like, here he's just working on the front left wheel. That's the whole video. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Tech Geek, $10. Off to bed for work in the morning. Good night, gents. I'll definitely be catching up on the rest of the stream tomorrow. Good night, Tech Geek. Thank you so much for keeping in touch. Lemming sends over 5 Aussie bucks. Craft Computing, please tell me you're familiar with Project Binky. Convertible Corvette. No, that's you.
That's
Project
me.
Binky. Hold on. I think I need to refresh my memory. Oh yeah, the GT4 Mini. Yeah. Yes, I have seen this project before. So this is a Mini Cooper with a GT4 Toyota engine, all-wheel drive, full conversion from the mid-90s. It's a the engine that was famous because Toyota cheated with the amount of displacement they had with a vacuum sealed expansion chamber for their turbo. So when the turbo spooled up to, 10,000, it would open this chamber up, but on inspection it looked flat and concave, and they could measure the internal volume of it, and they went, yeah, this totally passes tech. And then it opened that panel up and gave the turbo more room to breathe. I've seen this project before. Someone doing the GT4 swap, all-wheel drive Toyota performance rally car into a 60s Mini. It's awesome.
Well, how is your beer, Jeff?
I literally just finished it.
Ah, good. All right. Well, I could use another beer myself, and it is just about that right time for beer. So I am going to have I think this show loves this brewery. I personally do. Anchorage. Till next time, triple IPA. It's got this really cool, art of just this weird looking warrior guy.
I am loving that.
I hate opening these beers because I just want to keep.
I love looking at the cans. Right.
Yeah.
Now I've been playing the hell out of my Steam Deck and my Aya Neo. Aya Neo sent me a Next. That video's coming out probably on Saturday this week. But I've also got the Steam Deck that I'm working on a review for as well, and digging into Steam OS and that kind of stuff. I've been playing the absolute crap out of Borderlands. So I went back to the original Borderlands and I played through that and 100% of the original campaign. And I'm midway through Borderlands 2 right now, and I've been just swapping devices, going what's more comfortable? What has better ergonomics? What do which operating system would I prefer, Windows or Steam OS, and how's this and how's that, and just kind of bouncing back and forth and using, you know, like a legitimate, you know, series playthrough to write the review about. So yeah. Now I was going to open another Transient Artisan Ales. This one's Space and Time double IPA. I think I'm going to check my fridge and see if I have something else, because these weren't like super cold when I put them in there, and now I'm afraid this is at room temp, and I'm afraid it would sour my experience. So like I'm feeling the can and I'm going, it's the same temperature as my hand. Like that's not good.
Never good.
Right. So excuse me for like 2 or 3 seconds. I'm gonna go dig into my fridge real quick.
That's fine. I will just sit here and express to everyone how delicious this 10% triple IPA is. Because it is wonderful. By the way, it also has Citra, Incognito, double dry hop, Nelson Sauvin hops. Citra, one of my favorites. Nelson Sauvin has that nice white Sauvignon Blanc grapey flavor. If you've never had that, if that's something you guys like. I did see a couple other chats of what people were drinking. Oh, we got Dom has a Jellyfish Hunter, 10% triple IPA, Nicotine Brewing. Cheers, sir. So yeah, seems like everyone's probably on their second, possibly third drinks. I don't know, but it's cool. Oh, Treehouse? I wish. Treehouse, John. Unless you're going to send me some, because, you know, come on. Got the same name. It's basically like we're kind of like family. But no. Don't, as part of the next story, don't be monkeying around. Send me some Treehouse. That's a horrible joke. I'm sorry I said that. You'll get it in a second. It's a really bad joke.
Did I miss something?
Oh, I was just trying to make conversation, and I was trying to get John Jay to send me some Treehouse. And then I said, don't be monkeying around. Just send me some. And I said, that's a really bad joke, into the next reference of the next article.
That is a terrible joke, because I don't even know what you're talking about yet.
I know. That's why I said that was a really bad joke.
Yeah. Where is my bottle opener at? Like, I'm looking on my desk for it.
The guy that literally gives them away.
I know. Gosh. Yeah.
Should just have like a stack of them on your desk when people come to visit. Here, have a bottle opener.
I kind of do. But I have 2 that I usually keep on my desk, and I'm not seeing either of those right now.
Your kids probably took them.
Probably. I mean, don't get me wrong. I knew where 2 others were offhand. But
see, you need to do like a 3D printed mod to where one can mount on your monitor.
Yeah, just hang it off the side.
Yeah, and then just
not a bad idea.
Pop it off every time, and it just hits your monitor but doesn't block your view.
Yeah.
How many if you could build a bunch of those and then have someone CNC that, like, how many people would buy that from this channel alone?
A bottle opener monitor hanger.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
You basically just make it just like a camera mount, but it's a bottle opener too. So
yeah. So I'm going slightly larger for my second beer. My first one was a 6.5% double dry hop IPA. By the way, it was wonderful. It was tangy and tropical and dry and refreshing. Like, it was great. This is like the polar opposite of that. So this is also from Treehouse. Speaking of Treehouse, the quadruple shot stout. This is the quadruple shot vanilla cold brew stout.
Ooh.
Clocks in at 11.4.
Had to go higher than me.
I had to. Well, it's either that or like an Elysian that I've got in the fridge, and it's like, Speaking of cars, John, holy crap. Look at this.
Oh my gosh. I've seen cleaner oil come out of my car.
That is incredible.
There was, so for Thanksgiving, the very last beer I had was so thick.
Dude, actually, it's like chocolate syrup coming out of the bottom of it. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if Steve, I didn't think Steve's in the chat today, but man, it was the thickest beer he's even had too. It was so thick.
That's the last drop that hit the top of the glass.
Oh my God, look at that. That's chocolate syrup.
That's incredible. Oh my God.
Prepare for diabetes, Jeff.
Yeah. Wow. So, John Jay, if I die, I want to thank you beforehand. John Jay sends me a lot of Treehouse, everyone, so thank you, John.
I need to get me one of those P.O. boxes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. That is some of the strongest coffee I have ever had in a beer.
Next to coffee. It's coffee than this beer. It's basically right there.
I've had way worse coffee before. I've had coffee that didn't taste as much like coffee.
You'd rather have that than 7-Eleven coffee. Well, that's a lot of stuff I'd rather have too.
I will say, previous employer, I spent a lot of time on the road, jumping site to site and whatnot. This was 10, 15 years ago at least. But I have like my vices when I'm on the road, and that's like the cheap truck stop powdered coffee machines and a lot of the deep fried stuff you get from convenience stores. Like I walk in and 7-Eleven spicy bites, the spicy dogs. Oh, those are a favorite.
Those are actually, I like those.
You ever go to, there's a, I don't want to say exactly where it is, but if you're heading down 99E and you go south of where you're at, the next exit south to get onto I-5, there's a little Chevron station right there.
I know it.
Yeah. So they have like barbecue kebabs that you can buy there. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Never had them, but I've seen them.
I would stop and get some next time you're driving through and you got a couple minutes. It's worth a stop. I mean, they also do like, fried chicken and pizza rolls and things like that. But no, their kebabs are just chef's kiss amazing.
Oh no, yeah. Usually when I go to like those places and I see that, I just get like some JoJo's.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll never go wrong eating a JoJo. And I'd be like, okay, I probably won't get sick from that. It's just potatoes. I'll be fine. I just need a snack. All right, pound of JoJo's, please.
Skull says this stout is currently a 4.4 on Untapped.
See, if I knew you were going to have that, I would have busted something else out.
Oh, my God. And John Jay says, just wait till it warms up. Because, this is straight out of the fridge. This is still 40. This is going to be the rest of the show. Just me making noises.
Please let one of those be the thumbnail. All right, quick last news for something of tech.
Speaking of the thumbnail that I'll probably steal for this video,
Jeff's favorite subject, NFTs are back in news.
Yay.
And we all know the one NFT that really started all with the bored ape monkey weird, I don't know, I thought it's supposed to be some form of Norman Rockwell, but I guess it got hacked and people lost millions.
Well,
you have to, they pretty much lost the money when they paid for.
How do you lose a receipt? If you still have the receipt,
well,
how do you lose said receipt? Isn't that the point of blockchain? Like,
Well, when you basically hand them your wallet, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, I'm not on this particular one. I'm not super familiar because I don't follow it religiously or anything. There might be some people, so let me know if I get this wrong. But this Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever they're called, they were supposed to be a limited release of certain NFTs. And basically saying, we're not going to be doing any more minting for a long time. I guess someone hacked their Instagram account and put out a message saying, hey, new NFTs being minted right now. And it was just slight variations of some other ones. And people just went nuts and started giving people access to their wallets. Mm-hmm. There's basically a double your money scam type of thing. And it wasn't till later that the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the actual people, sent out a message to everyone saying, we didn't do this. We got hacked. We're sorry. And the people that went and bought went back and looked into their wallets. Yeah. Completely wiped out. Yeah. So there's no technical value we know of because we don't know the actual value of these NFTs. Yeah. Because there is no real value to them. Right. It's whatever you say they're technically worth. Right. So they lost $1 or they lost millions. Right.
Well, all in the same day. They lost $1 and then they lost $1 million. Then it was 10,000. Then it was, then it was actually, strangely enough, a net gain of 38,000. Like, there was a weird day where it's.
So yeah, again, the wonderful world of NFTs, guys. It's your money. Do with it what you want, but be very weary of these. Well, it's kind of like
NFTs.
Yeah, well, there's that, and like you said earlier, or like you and I agree mostly on this of the whole Bitcoin, blockchain, crypto. Look, it's your money. It's just like stocks. You're playing with fire no matter what. Yeah. Get prepared to be burned. That's it. Yep. Don't go dumping your life savings into something. Yep. If you have a little bit of money, you're like, yeah, I could afford $100. Great, go play with $100. Go to a casino. You're probably going to have more fun.
Probably have better luck.
Yeah. So, but if that's your jam, that's cool. Look, I personally, I spent I think I'm like $200 in. Yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. John, don't make me tap the sign.
So, but I've never bought an NFT. So,
well, that you'd admit to anyway.
Yeah, that I admit to. So, well, I was gonna make a couple of Hops and Brews NFTs. 201 exclusive NFTs of me drinking beer. I should have done that. That would have been fun. put every one of my beers on the blockchain.
There you go.
That would have been. Oh, I should have done that. That would have been funny. Only my mom would have bought them. So, now so that's it for the tech news. Now we did have something very interesting for the beer news. There was a while back we talked about Molson Coors canceled a few of their beers, quite a few of their beers actually, their brands. Yep. Or is it InBev? I think it's InBev. No, Molson Coors. Yeah, Molson Coors. Sorry about that. But one of them is surprisingly making a comeback, and it's actually coming back to its birthplace too. Yes. Technically. So, if many of you might know, is one of my favorite root beers is the Henry Weinhardt's root beer. If you've never had it, it is delicious. So good. It actually even looks like it comes in a beer bottle. Yep. But some of you might not know, it actually started off as a beer company, Henry Weinhardt's, and one of their most famous beers is the Private Reserve. In fact, this company helped build Portland, Oregon. Yeah. If you've ever been to Portland, Oregon, there's a very cool story about if you ever see the water fountains that are just randomly running all throughout. Henry Weinhardt's put those in for their employees to walk home sober from the bar. after work so that they can come to work the next day sober. And those fountains are still going today. Well, the Henry Weinhardt's brewery beer was brewed in Oregon all the way up till 1999. And then it was, I think, moved to Colorado or to some other place. But it was still, essentially sold as Henry Weinhardt's, and it still said we use the best Pacific Northwest Northwest hops. I think there's it's not Columbus. What's the hop that's exclusive to the Willamette Valley? Willamette hops.
Willamette hops, yeah.
Yeah, Willamette hops. My gosh.
Is this a trick question?
It's like, where do Marion berries come from?
Same place as Filbert's, John.
Anyways, so
no one knows what we're talking about right now.
So Henry Weinhardt's Private Reserve and their beers officially got dumped by Molson Coors, I think about a few months back. Hop Valley, as some of you that don't know it, was purchased by Molson Coors a few years back, and they are a local Oregon brewery out of Eugene, Oregon. And they asked Molson Coors if they could pick up and continue to release the Henry Weinhardt's Private Reserve. Now, it is in a limited market, but it's coming back, and it's going to be brewed back in Oregon after 23 years of leaving Oregon.
Yeah.
So I thought that's pretty darn cool. I always enjoyed buying some Henry Weinhardt's. You and I actually we talked about this last week, to that very ultra exclusive cellar bottle release, stuff.
Yeah.
And I bought that like 1970s Henry Weinhardt's
45-year-old can.
Yeah. And so they used to sell Henry Weinhardt, and it's not a bad beer. If you sit there and think Pabst or something is the cheapest beer, no, this is like $1 cheaper than Pabst. And by that, I mean, like, you can get a 12-pack for like $7.
Yeah.
And it's not horrible. It's about as good as Pabst or Rainier. I would take this over Rainier. Sorry, Rhett.
Wow. Wow, them's fighting words, John.
Hey, I would gladly do a cheap beer review with Rhett of all comparable price points to see which one Rhett.
That would be interesting. We didn't even have to film that one.
We wouldn't. It would just be fun to watch, or to see if he could even pick out
Can
Rainier.
You pick Rainier? Right.
Yeah. Come on, pick Rainier. What's your favorite one?
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. Here's 7 American lagers. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't even put Rainier in there. Just to mess with him.
You like Sam Adams Winter Ale.
That's Stone IPA. I'm sorry. So,
John, can I get another Budweiser Copper Lager in here?
I think I still have. What was that space one we had?
Yeah,
I still have a spare can of that.
Yeah, that wasn't the Copper Reserve. That was another one. But yeah,
it was another one. Ugh. I still have a spare can of the Copper Reserve.
I'm really glad we're still doing remote shows.
I brought some weird stuff. But yeah, speaking of Molson Coors and weird ways to advertise, I guess this article isn't actually technically new. It was kind of renew because someone found it and did a new article upon some old article.
Yeah.
But I just found it interesting because we also didn't have a whole lot of news to talk about. But I guess there was at a time, and wouldn't be the first time, but Molson Coors paid a bunch of people to see if they can inject their advertisements into your dreams. And this immediately made me think of Futurama. So they paid, this woman claims that she was part of a group that she found on Craigslist, and someone was willing to pay them $1,000 to do a study on them. And it was executives from the Molson Coors plant, and they objected them to commercials and music. And then it was a sleep study, and how she had dreams about dancing with Molson Coors bottles and dropping them from planes and whatnot.
Sorry, I don't know how that one got in there.
What? Oh.
Light speed briefs.
There it is.
For the discriminating crotch. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know where that came from. So if you ever sit there and wonder why you look at a commercial on TV and you're like, that's just weird. And then you walk away 3 days later with that jingle in your head. There's the reason these type of studies are out there. And
we already do that with our phones. Like there's tons of anecdotal evidence of, is Google just really good at guessing, or are they listening? You ever had a conversation with a buddy about like, yeah, we were looking at refinishing our deck, so I've been looking at a bunch of different stains to see which one I should buy for our new deck. And all of a sudden you get advertisements for, you know, DeWalt power tools and different stains, you know, for Amazon recommendations, because Google Analytics said, hey, you might be looking at new stuff for a deck, even though it's like, I haven't even typed anything in. I just talked to a friend of mine about it. Like, we all have that one story.
Yep. Oh, yeah. We've talked about it multiple times.
Or that one story where you're like, I bought a toilet seat, and thank you, Google, but when I buy a toilet seat, I only need one toilet seat. I'm not going to buy 30 other toilet seats because you recommend them to me now.
Well, yeah. What is it? There was that. I went and bought like...
You may like this executive toilet seat.
I bought a filter for my vacuum, and then Amazon was recommending, hey, you'll need this filter. Like, no, this filter lasts 6 months. I'm good.
And the filter you recommended me is for a different vacuum.
I know. I don't collect filters. I'm good.
It's a good try.
So, yeah. So there's even beer commercials out there that they want your money. So just be careful. But that was funny. I don't know. It was more of the Futurama reference. I just found that. I was like, I know Jeff's going to do something with this. We can at least riff on for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Even 3 minutes. So. Yeah, that's it for the beer news.
Oh gosh, what was that? That reel, the Futurama ad where he goes, the sky parted and I saw colors I never knew existed, and for once I was one with creation. Yeah, some college kid wears that on the weekends. We all feel that way all the time, Fry. Good stuff.
Oh, I can't wait for that to come back.
Yes. Especially now that the gang's all back together.
Yes. That could be another thing we talk about at the end of shows.
So, apparently, when you only make one game about every 7 years, having your own single source game launcher and storefront isn't really a sustainable business model, as Bethesda kind of found out. So obviously Bethesda, known for Skyrim Anniversary Edition, Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim all of the DLCs, Fallout 76, hashtag not Skyrim, Fallout 4, hashtag Skyrim with guns. They found out that, you know, once you've made that initial sale, no one gives a flying F about using your launcher. And so they're nuking their launcher, so to speak. Bethesda will be moving all of their games back to Steam. And in fact, today they started making some of their really old games, like Daggerfall and whatnot, free on Steam. So if you wanted to check out Daggerfall, which still has the largest open world map in all of gaming history. And by the way, the game was made in 1994, I want to say. It's definitely worth checking out.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Fallout 76 was free. I was like, yeah. Wasn't it already free?
It should be free. Sorry, 96 for Daggerfall. 96, not 94. Yeah, still a DOS-based game, but... All right. John, I saved us 20 plus minutes.
Oh, plenty of time.
To go over Mercy.
Yep, and this time it's only one episode, which, great episode. Like you said earlier.
That was so good.
It was a good episode. Good episode. It actually did exactly what I was asking for. A little more Q. I need a bit more Q. That was my big complaint last week of the previous two episodes. It answered a bit more questions. So yeah, super excited for tomorrow. And the next day, I think it's all ramping up. I think tomorrow and the next day, please just don't give me flying flower plants this time. That's all I ask for.
It's its own evolved species. I don't hate it because we've seen weirder things in Trek. Like, there's a lot of weirder things in canon than flying flowers that protect a planet. Like, John.
Okay. John. Okay, yes, but
you can't nitpick to that level. I hate the flowers.
I hated the flower. It's a single storyline. That's the problem. Individual episodes.
Whoa. They showed up in one episode.
But it's a single storyline.
There was an entire episode of Jake and Ben flying a Bajoran solar sail thing. There was an entire...
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Yes, but it ended and it was done and it was never mentioned again. And the only reason those flowers were never mentioned again because it was the last episode.
Right, but there was also an entire episode about Naomi Wildman and her feelings on Voyager. Like,
okay, granted, but it was never a season finale.
No.
Name a season finale with a really odd, weird thing going on. Be like, oh, that's just a weird episode. I'm just gonna never watch that one again.
Picard getting assimilated. I mean, it was awesome in hindsight, but that was a 9-month cliffhanger.
It was a cliffhanger, so it never ended. This was a season finale that ended a story.
Do you remember watching that episode as a kid?
I do. I actually had a Pizza Hut during that night too.
Right.
So I do remember it.
Yeah, every Monday night we would sit down and we would watch new episodes of Star Trek. And I'd catch every rerun that I ever could. And that was terrifying.
It was terrifying, but it wasn't lame. I mean, imagine DS9 and the season finale was the episode where Cisco builds that flyer. That was the season finale. Would you like that as a season finale?
To be fair, the Bajoran Flyer was like episode 17 in season 2. Like, so it doesn't matter. Right?
It doesn't matter, but I'm just saying,
it was filler.
Most of those stuff that you're talking about, is filler. If this was a filler episode mid-season and they had to go, like, as they were assembling the crew, had to fight off some flying flower, okay, I could probably agree with you. Be like, oh, it's mid-season. What happened at Flying Flowers? Riker comes in.
Right. I have to say, the Flying Flowers sum up everything that I thought was wrong with season 1, and that was that the plot was stretched way too thin. It felt like it could have been 6 episodes instead of 10. And had it been a longer season, sure, give me flowers. Like, had it been a shorter season, sure, give me flowers. But the thing is, they were just kind of there in episode 9.
It was too much. Half the season was character building and individual episodes,
which had great moments.
Certain ones did. Certain ones, like Picard fencing, was just like, yeah, okay. But honestly, I did like the one where they all dressed up, and they were in that casino, and I thought that was a fun. And we got to see.
I am French.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, this is dumb, but I kind of like
Picard, French space pirate.
It was the closest to a holodeck episode, but a serious holodeck episode that we got.
Right. Like someone may die holodeck episode.
Yeah. And so I guess what I'm pointing out is they have a really good opportunity here to wrap this season up really good with these last 2 episodes. And I don't hope, I mean, well, we'll get into it and then we can talk about it. So
all right. Let's go over a very quick synopsis. I'm going to mention like 3 or 4 plot points. Because this season, unlike season 1, has been doing a lot of multifaceted plot points, where every episode in season 1 was very cut and dry. We're going to this planet, we're doing this thing, we're picking up this person learns something about themselves, and then we jet off to the next planet. Like that
6 episodes were building the crew.
Right, exactly. Not that I necessarily had a really hard time with that. Like I said, there's some great moments in there, but it felt stretched way too thin. Yeah, Eleanor's a great character, but did he deserve a full 2 episodes to introduce? Probably not. But the new season is doing such a great job of taking that crew and giving them individual plot points, so they're building character with one another and putting them into dynamics that they're not used to, or that we haven't seen them in before, and letting the character build through plot lines. And I think it's actually very well done. Like I said, is there any better combo than Girardi and the Borg Queen in a prom dress singing at the top of the balcony? Like, I know a lot of people hated that scene. I thought it was great because it was, yeah. It was,
yeah, I liked her. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it was the Borg Queen forwarding up, speeding up the process of, Picard and Seven have both a number of times in the past said there was nothing more endorphin releasing, serotonin releasing. There was never more of a high than being in the collective. And as the queen, your job is to stimulate that endorphin rush to help accept the transition, is so the tale goes. And so by giving Girardi just a little bit of confidence and a little bit of hey, you go do this, Tiger, you got this. She hits that endorphin rush, and now the queen goes, okay, I can take it from here. I thought that was a great plot line. But fast forwarding to Mercy. So Picard and Guinan have been arrested by the FBI because Picard materialized out of nowhere in front of Guinan's bar, which happens to be at 10 Forward Street, Los Angeles, California, which I hate. Anyway, they're in a holding cell, and the FBI agent is trying to get them to admit to being aliens. And Picard's like, well, I'm not an alien. And Guinan's like, yeah, we're not aliens. Anyway, at the end of the last episode, Guinan tried to summon a Q, and it didn't work. And everyone was freaking out about, well, how did Elorians all of a sudden get this power? Well, they're both immortal beings. Like, you didn't think that they didn't know about each other, or have a history with each other, or anything else.
That was established within Next Generation,
right?
With the third Q episode,
right?
I think.
Yeah. And so anyway, I love the interaction with Q and Guinan in this episode in Mercy, because Guinan tries to summon Q, it didn't work, and then they were arrested. Yeah. They go to the holding cell, and they separate Guinan and Picard, and they're trying to sweat them out and admit them to whatever else. And Q walks in an FBI jacket, and turns around and sees Guinan and goes, "You. We haven't had the pleasure of introductions yet, but you will be a particular thorn in my side."
Yeah.
And you get a little bit of a history between Elorians and Q, as well as a Q isn't well. He thought that there would be that proverbial light at the end of the tunnel, but all he's seeing is this eternal darkness, and he's realizing there's an end, there's a finite curve. I'm going to die. I have no idea if it's 500,000 years from now, but what's the point if I'm going to die? Like, that's the one thing I had over humanity, and now I'm going to die along with the rest of this pathetic, savage human race. And he can't handle it. He's having, a mid or end of life crisis. I don't know which.
They technically allude to, because we have to remember, technically he looks older, but it's only because he's doing this for Picard, his own sake. So technically he still could look however he wants.
Right.
And like you were saying, he theoretically can see oh, I'm dying, I don't feel very well. Mm-hmm. Or he actually could just be sick, but he doesn't understand it, so he thinks he's dying. But he doesn't know that it's going to be, like you said, 5 years from now, this year, or 10 generations, 1,000 billion years from now, who knows? But he feels something weird.
Yeah.
Oh God, it'd be awesome End of this, it was just a cold. And he's like, I've never experienced a cold. Oh, I'm sorry. But that was it.
Sorry, I just needed to self-quarantine for 1,000 years.
Exactly. Something, I was like, oh, man, they won't do
I think that's
that.
A little much. I think that's a little much.
But they won't. But like, if this was TNG, that would have totally been it. Like Crusher just goes to him, you have a cold.
Yeah. If anyone's going to get a man cold, it's going to be Q.
I know, but it was just like,
I feel like I'm dying. I'm trying to vaporize you right now.
That would be like, oh man, that would be it. That would be hilarious. Now that would be a classic TNG episode, but we're not going to get that.
Yeah. Hold on. I just got Sebastian asks if I've heard anything about the Quantum TV issue about copyright notifications running rampant. Quantum TV. Hold on. I have not heard anything regarding Quantum TV. So Quantum TV is a YouTube channel. I did get a copyright notice on one of my videos this week. It's a video that's like 3 years old. It's a video that at this point gets maybe 30 views a month if I'm really lucky. Like it doesn't perform anymore. I don't care about it anymore. It did well at the time, but it was a topic from 3 years ago. So I got a copyright notice for it. And it was a video in which I had no music in the background of my video. And then I did a B-roll montage of a build, and I had music during the build. Now, all of my music comes from one particular source, which is a Creative Commons website that's designed for creators. When everyone says, oh, you use the same music as My Name is Pedro, or as Simone Yacht, or this other place. It's like, yeah, Level 1 Text. Like, yeah, we all get our music from the same place. It's because it's Creative Commons, and you can either license the songs by paying a license fee and not give attribution, or you can just give attribution at the bottom of your videos, which is what I do. And so at the bottom of every single one of my videos is a music source where you can download the music from and a copy of the Creative Commons license. Like, it's how I do my licensing. Yep. So I got a copyright notice for a video that had a particular song in it. And I went, well, that's interesting because it's a Creative Commons song. So I clicked on the copyright notice, and it said, oh, your song is being pinged as this song that is also being played on another YouTube channel. I went, well, that's really interesting, because if it's Creative Commons, it shouldn't matter, because it's attributed and common license. So I clicked on it. It was a YouTube video in which they had sped up the song by about 6 or 7%. And so it was in a higher pitch and running 6 or 7% faster. Not to the point where it sounded like a chipmunk, but to the point where you couldn't recognize the song outright. And in fact, I had to listen to it multiple times to make sure like the drum pattern and everything else was the same. It was the same song, just sped up and pitched slightly higher. So I fought it. I said, no, this person who uploaded the video the same day as the copyright complaint, like literally like April 7th or something like that, they uploaded a video, and on April 7th I got a copyright claim because my music matched this video that was just uploaded. I went, no, this is BS, and copyright strike or not, I'm gonna fight it. Like, I don't need this video to be live anymore. I don't need the ad revenue from this video. Like, I've already made my money. It's done. I could privatize the video. I don't think anyone would ever notice. But it's the principle of the thing. And so I filed out a counter claim and said, no, here's my music attribution. Here's what happened. This person uploaded a video with this music file, and it's only the music file in the video and like a little thumbnail stupid picture that is just static in the background. And I went, no, they don't own rights to that song. This other company owns rights to that song, and I have the attribution at the bottom of it along with the Creative Commons license. I should win. I'm still waiting to hear back from it. There's like 15 days left on the until it expires. So, but again, the YouTube copyright system is you are guilty until proven innocent, and even in a complaint, if they don't respond to the complaint, I don't think you automatically win. I think they automatically win.
They do.
Or something like, yeah, it's weird. And it's on the judgment of the complainter or the complainer, not of the defendant. And the defendant in this case would be me. But I'm fighting it. I know it only cost me like 30 cents over the next lifetime of the video, but I don't care. Piss off. You don't own that song.
I'm just curious. So let's see. Quantum TV and copyright abuse. This blah, blah, blah. Was reacting to Elder Ring hot takes. So basically, Rhett, shut up. No, I'm just kidding. That's what it all is. It's all because of Rhett.
Yeah.
That's why your stuff's getting copyrighted, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, again, this was 3 years ago.
Oh.
But
was it a Talking Heads with Rhett?
Right. What I will say, reaction videos are not protected under fair use. You're not adding anything to the video if all you're doing is playing the video and then laughing at it. If you are doing a true deconstruction and review on a deeper level than like, oh my god, this guy is an idiot, it might be considered fair use, but again, fair use is not fair use until proven in a court of law.
I think, you know, from my understanding, reaction videos to be monetized, like you have to be talking over 90% of the audio.
It's not even that. It's because technically the video and the audio have separate copyrights.
Well, I guess, yeah, it all depends on what you're reacting to. If it's fair use reacting to, like if you're watching news like ABC News or NBC News or something like that.
Even then, there's copyrights and there's prohibitions on being able to replay, rebroadcast, redistribute content made by one company, creator, network, whatever, to another. I mean, the NFL is the most famous one, you know, without written consent from the NFL and ESPN from but
there's the NFL. Do you know the other weird one is you cannot say the Schwarzenegger's full name on YouTube.
I did not.
Do not say the full name of the Dominator.
The Governor?
The Governor. He is also just as renowned. I found this out like last week. You can go check that out on Reddit. There's a whole like sub thing on that. It's just as bad as the NFL. Now, I think it's for like ultra mega tubers, but I would say even something this large of a channel might get dinged for it. So that's why I didn't say anything.
You can't stop news outlets from saying your name.
Well,
names are public record.
YouTube, especially for his. All right, we got like a couple more minutes. Let's
watch this. Shut up. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to test it. There we go.
Hops and Brews never said that word. All right, guys. YouTube.
You're demonetized by proxy.
I know. All right.
Anyway, back to the show.
We were talking. Let's see. So Q has talked to Guinan.
I love. By the way, she goes, I did the ritual and I tried to summon a Q. You can't just summon a Q. It doesn't work like that. That's a sacred ritual. And whatnot. She goes, I thought it didn't work. And he goes, why do you think it took me so long to get here? I had to take a bus.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, you Indolorians always sit there and think it's just like some summoning thing. That's not how this works. I don't sit here and come at your beck and call. And then she like starts figuring out, oh, you're sick.
Yeah.
And
I thought the problem was me, but no, the emptiness was you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's humanity's last trial.
So that goes on, and then Picard eventually convinces through this Guinan learns of, you know, essentially how to trick the FBI agent by just basically telling the truth. And we find out that this FBI agent saw extraterrestrials, which were Vulcans, as a young child.
I saw this scene. Now, to put this in context, the year is 2024. This agent is pushing 65. You know, he's like 5 days from retirement kind of guy. And first contact doesn't happen until 2063. What are Vulcans doing on Earth in 1970?
You did not watch Enterprise.
I didn't. At least not that far.
This is explained in Enterprise. Yes. The Vulcans were secretly visiting Earth for years.
Okay.
Just like the Federation will secretly monitor planets that they think
have intelligent life but aren't work capable yet. Prime directive, yada yada. Okay.
And yada yada yada. So there is a Enterprise episode where this happens. Gotcha. And
okay. I hadn't seen that particular episode. Like I said, I've watched a good chunk of Enterprise.
It was a filler episode.
Never in a row, never intentionally. It's just like, it's on. I'm watching it. You know, Archer and those guys took a long time getting from there to here. Right.
So we see that, and he thinks that the aliens were there to abduct him or harm him,
kill him,
by trying to do this this thing to his face, and his face was hurting, it was burning, and these Vulcans then get transported away.
Yeah.
And Picard tells him that no, were they doing this?
Yeah.
And he does this. Yeah. Yeah.
The mind meld.
The mind meld, as we all know, he was bonded with Sarek, Spock's father.
Yeah.
So he kind of has already I have the memories of a Vulcan.
Yeah.
And he explains to them they weren't harming you, they were actually trying to protect you so you wouldn't live in misery, but it sounds like it didn't take and it failed.
Right.
And he explains, I'm from the future, I'm trying to save humanity. And so he basically ends up believing them. He's like, honestly, no one at the firm's going to believe me. I'm actually believing you. It's safe. You're free to go. I got fired. And that's how they get out. Basically, by telling the truth, you got set free. Wow, what a concept, right?
Right.
And then it goes over to Raffi and Seven trying to track down Girardi.
Yep. And apparently
so
Girardi's been huffing lithium and eating battery acid.
Yeah. Which every street thug always does.
Right.
You're trying to get high and experience those endorphins. I'm going to eat a battery.
So yeah, they're tracking Girardi, who is Borg Queen come lately. The Borg Queen is 100% driving, and they're going, is Girardi still in there? Like, Girardi wouldn't have killed a guy. And whatnot. Well, Girardi then runs into Seven and Raffi. They get into a fight. She kicks the crap out of Seven and then holds Girardi up and, does the whole, like, Terminator, I'm going to hold you in the air. And, meanwhile, I'm sure Cheryl Tunt is like, somewhere out, because it wasn't even first party violence. It was violence just on anyone would excite her. Sorry. Watch Archer. Anyway, you hear Girardi's voice at one point say, let her go, or no, or something like that. And Girardi drops Raffi and then runs away. Seven and Raffi kind of realize, well, maybe Girardi's in there because she probably should have killed us. Like, we were no match for her. She could have killed us.
There's still a glimmer of hope.
There's a glimmer of hope there. Now, me being the pragmatist, is saying, just freaking vaporize her the next time you see her. Like, I know you're trying to save Girardi, but you're also trying to think about the future of humanity. It was the one part of the episode I didn't like. Like, I understand it's still Girardi. I understand Girardi's in there. And again, I never thought that Allison Pills would outact Jerry Ryan in an entire series of Star Trek, but holy crap, Girardi is totally taking the spotlight.
This is a much better character for her than last season.
It's amazing. It's amazingly well done. Her character's just been so great.
Yeah.
So Girardi runs away. Meanwhile, we've also got Corey, who is Adam Soong's cloned daughter. Of like
they all look the same.
Wow. Yeah, they all look the same. Of like the 8th generation down or something like that. And you were supposed to die by your 4th birthday, but here you are. And Q gives her the gift of stability, of not being allergic to the sun. The
real pill that or antidote that was hinted at earlier. So and during this time she saw videos of her father and the experiments basically of what her father, I forget what Soon this is, but Adam Soon, thank you. Was doing, and she confronts him and after she took the antidote and basically just runs away. During this time, I think it cuts back to the scene where Seven and Girardi get Raffi get their butts kicked, and they put a battery back into the cell phone that was stolen by Girardi, and to look up what she was doing with the batteries and what they need, and she needs more of the lithium. And they said the one person who had it, and they said, oh look, here's her Google history search, essentially. And who could
always clear your search history? Come on, right? Rookie move.
Come on, jeez. Yeah, you think the Boar Queen would know that?
Who else but Mr. Soong?
Yeah, exactly. A weird note that I did think. Okay, well, I guess this kind of would come back to the fact that she didn't have full control, but as the Boar Queen, she then was able to access. Oh, okay, this is all through the ship. Never mind. All right, my point's mute. All right, so yeah.
I want to point one thing out. And I think we'll end with this because we haven't really reviewed much so far. It's been like more of an overview.
It's a good episode.
Can I just say, at the beginning of this series, I was kind of against Brent Spiner coming back and playing another version of Soong. Like, I've seen it. I don't want to see it anymore. Like, come up with a different character, please. Brent Spiner as an evil mad scientist, I am on board. Holy crap. The dude is amazing in this particular role. And I'll say the same thing about what's her name? Soji, Corey, whoever you want to call her. Even in the role of the daughter is killing it. But Adam Soong in his mannerisms, they're completely different from any character that he's played as far as Data and that family line goes before. Obviously, because he's 6 generations removed at this point. Yeah. But different motivations, and he's a tortured genius on the brink of a massive breakthrough, and he's looking for his moment in history and that kind of thing, and he keeps getting denied and gets his funding pulled out from under him. And I mean, it's the origin story for any mad scientist. Yeah. But mad scientist Soong is such a good character.
Yeah. So quickly wrap up. So what it is then the Queen goes to Soong, basically spills the future, saying that if what's her face, Renee Picard or whatever her name is, goes into space, we still need to stop her.
Yeah.
She's going to find basically something on Mars that's going to make his tech obsolete.
Yeah.
If she doesn't go, his tech, which kind of hints at the eugenic wars, going to be revolutionary and save the planet. And this actually, it was hinted back if you watch the very first episode where Picard flashes back in time and you see Q and take a look at the sky. It's the same shielding that stops the daughter from getting hurt by the sun rays. So basically, we see that tech just get larger and more expanded.
Yeah.
Little hints here and there, and then
I hadn't even thought of that. That's a great callback. Yeah.
So then the very end of the episode kind of goes, or the very end, the episode ends with Soong providing a goon squad of marine mercenary type people to the Borg Queen to storm the rocket launch, because, well, obviously he's the biggest donor.
I was honestly waiting for Deadeye and Harley Quinn to walk in, like.
And then so she has the Borg Queen has assimilated her so much she can now she's now got some veins popping up. She's got the little 7 and 9, or it was the Picard cheek thing. Those little wires, or those dark veins.
Who's up for a little gosh, what did she say? Who's up to provide a little genetic and technological distinctiveness? And she reaches up and she assimilates this dude. And all of a sudden his eyes go green. He's got these veins pumping through and whatnot. Yeah. And at this point, Soong's realizing he may have effed up. Now,
and then episode ends.
Now, prediction time. Okay. Prediction time. I think they're going to wrap both timelines up and tie them back together. Because remember, there's 2 timelines that are existing kind of with each other right now. And actually, you could argue a third now that they've gone back in time in the second timeline. Because anything that they do, even their presence being there, is going to alter something.
It all depends on what timeline you subscribe to, Jeff.
Right. So there's been speculation from the very beginning that Girardi was the Borg Queen. I think that's true. There's been... There hasn't really been anything that I've seen that... I think because the timelines are all related to each other, I think if Girardi, as the Borg Queen, found a way to teleport into the future and start the events that we're seeing right now, that would explain the whole bent time thing. Because remember, the Borg can travel through time. They have the ability. Tech. They have that tech.
Their own tech.
Right. And in Girardi's timeline, they've already done it a number of times. Like, Girardi's timeline, they had transwarp tunnels, they had the Borg sphere going back in time. Like, that's all part of the Borg tech already.
Technically, yes, but so this comes back to First Contact and other references of the Borg, which said that the Borg actually weren't that powerful long ago.
Right.
It just took time to assimilate other cultures. So it being even further back than First Contact, where they were just trying to communicate with that timeline's Borg.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't recall if Borg are immortal or not.
I think essentially they are. Now, they can't live without their organic components, but their mechanical components can keep the organic components alive.
Yeah.
Is how I understand it.
So maybe like Q can't kill her, or I don't know. I still gonna go with Q's gonna be like somewhat of a savior. Maybe he has to send Girardi to the end of the Delta Quadrant where the Borg are at, and it takes her this long to accumulate, all the tech and everything, or whatever, or assimilate, and then she does the time travel or something to manipulate the future.
Who knows?
Who knows? I still believe it's gonna be Picard's gonna have to convince Q to do something.
Yeah.
Q's gonna do something in a last ditch effort to redeem himself because he feels he's dying.
Right. Last week I famously said I don't want a Q redemption arc. After this episode, I kind of do.
I think that's gonna be it.
Like, I've kind of flipped my opinion on that, where it was like before, I'm like, no, please don't try to redeem Q. I want Q to be the omnipotent, plaything, the all-knowing child who tinkerer, torturer, whatever. I kind of like him in that role. And then we see him going like, well, that's unexpected and unfortunate. But then we see, like, he's losing his power, but he's still trying to manipulate. You know, he jumps into as the role in the therapist. He obviously got into the FBI somehow. Like, he still has his ways. And
it seems more like a mental block of something's stopping him, but every now and then he has glimpses of it.
But I cannot wait for tomorrow, because Guinan and Picard said we need to flip the script on him. We need to make this about his failings and his faults.
This is where I think it's going to be more of a psychological battle on Q, and Q's going to be like, you fixed me, and it's a mental disease, not a physical one. Thank you, Picard. I will grant you something. Flips it. I'll take you back to your timeline, but your problems are still your problems that you caused, because that's a Q thing.
Yeah.
And then probably Girardi's the Borg Queen. She's as happy as she's ever been, because now she has a connection with a collective that she never felt as a human, but she wants to think
Picard. It's because she killed her husband.
Well, yeah. She wants to think
we all
Picard
forget that.
And bring the Borg into the Federation. As long as Q's still alive, I think I'll be happy. And then end the season with some kind of snap of
take me back to the Bridge of the Stargazer, in which Picard says something to Girardi, and Girardi overpowers the Borg Queen from a battle within. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and then that's Q saying, thanks, Picard, here's your gift back.
Yeah.
Snap. Okay, we don't know Q died, but we don't know if he's still alive. That's perfectly fine. It's up in the air. It's totally up to interpretation. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
I
can't wait. The last two episodes I feel are going to be really great. Or there are so many people saying, like, Picard is so stupid, like the series is so stupid, and the plot lines are so, like, ill-gotten. Like, we're 8 episodes in and we don't even know who the main villain is yet. It's the Borg and Q. Like, that was established in the very first episode. I don't know what the hell you missed. Thank you, Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, like Steve was saying, it was bad. It's like, other than Lower Decks, this is the best Trek out there, because, my gosh.
Have you watched Discovery? It's not
good. Exactly. And so far, Undiscovered Country or whatever they're doing.
Strange New Worlds.
Thank you. Doesn't look that good.
Looks like a rehashing of the original series, which was campy AF, and it did fine in 1967. I don't think it'll play well today.
No, I mean, okay, if they go to the episodic sense, maybe there might be a couple good hitters.
It has to go episodially.
It might be a couple good. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a single long story, which is like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, that's actually a real problem with modern TV, is the bounds that they're trying to place on what is not, previously used medium. I've said this about Star Trek Picard in particular, is tell the story you came here to tell and forget about your 42-minute runtime.
Yeah.
Run an episode for an hour and run another one for 29 minutes. No one's going to give a crap on this end.
As long as it's
because it's not about airtime anymore. No, it's not about filling your allotted slot and selling the ads within that slot. It's about telling your story. And if you're needing to stretch or condense or whatever else, you're not taking advantage of the medium that you have before you now.
And that's the dumb part too, is right now all of these there is no advertisers. People already paid for this.
Right.
They just want to see good content.
Right.
Give us 20 minutes, give us 40 minutes. We don't care. Just give us a good story. I don't care if it's a 3-parter. Give me a 3-part. 3-parters have been done before, and I've been perfectly happy with it. And then start a new story. Tell me 3 months after, okay, here's a new adventure we have to go on. And it's 20 minutes of we had to go to Ryza because of X, And it's a dumb episode.
We had to go to Ryza.
It was 20 minutes. But it could be, those are the stories you could easily do fan service to.
Yeah.
and then you do another 3-parter, and then fan service of 20 minutes.
You bring Geordi back for 3 episodes on some weird thing where he's the captain over here, and then you bring O'Brien back where he's doing this weird thing out in the boondocks because like he left DS9 and now he's helping like some colonists or something. And,
or you just mention DS9 and you're like, I got to stop off at Quark's really quick. It's a different captain, different era, but Quark is still there.
Right.
You're like, that's beautiful. I love it. Thank you.
Right, exactly.
You know?
You could easily take 1 or 2 characters and just give them a 3-episode series and make it a 180-minute movie essentially, or 150-minute long movie. Just tell it in 3 parts. Yeah. I mean, there's your 3 acts. It does it for you. And I think it could be great. You could bring back Bashir as a genetically engineered human, and he's working with the new roboticists on Earth on bringing back AI and robotics and everything. I think that would be a great little thing to explore.
I mean, yeah, you could even just call it Star Trek, and every couple episodes is just a different angle.
Right.
All new characters, all new things of just the different.
You know what it needs to be. You know what it needs to be. It needs to be Garrick telling their stories.
Oh my gosh! There you go. Oh yeah, no, like he's by the lemon tree and he's telling a bunch of young kids of space travel back in my day. You don't even know.
There was an interesting young doctor who,
yes,
who I became great friends with. Yeah,
all these stories that would be great. Yeah. So looking forward to tomorrow.
Especially the lies.
Oh gosh, you know what this means? I'm not going to be on the finale.
You're not.
Oh, well.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
All right.
All
right.
This has been episode 232 of Talking Heads here on Craft Computing. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Make sure to join the Patreon if you plan on joining the after party. Link is down in the video description. You can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads throughout the week, and video chat with us every Wednesday night after the show. John, anything to promote? Go to the order.
Just sub to Hops and Brews if you like the brew content. I'm hoping to have my video with all of the stuff. I just finished the whole reel of the transformation, which took forever. So hoping to have the video out by next Wednesday before the next Talking Heads. So look for that. Cool. If you are interested in the whole 201 beer diet, 46 days, only beer.
Yes.
Transformation.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good.
You're looking good now that you have some solid food in you.
I am. It feels different. This whole week has felt weird. It's all going to be talked about. So it's fun. I'm like,
we'll have to talk off air because I've had similar experiences, not with 46 days of beer, but 30 days of nothing but liquid diet because I had issues of my own that I had to work through at one point.
Oh yeah.
No, I've done the 30 plus day liquid diet before, and I experienced some stuff. So I'm wondering if it's similar. So
it's probably.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. And as always, we will see you